everybody, it's Sherry Tuckus, the Green Nurse from Green Nurse Group and Green Nurse on the Go Show. And I'm here at the 2019 New England Cannabis Conference, the 5th annual, and this is NECANN TV. I'm here with Shanel Lindsay.
Hey everyone.
And she has got some great things to share with us. She's an attorney in the cannabis industry, and she's the CEO and founder of Ardent.
That's right. Thank you so much for having me here. Always excited to be here talking to the New England cannabis community, and I always love speaking with nurses too. So excited to talk today.
We're going to have a great conversation. You know, and here's the thing too, is the laws, like nurses in general, we have to be up on the laws, and they're constantly changing.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give to us nurses to keep up with the laws? How are we going to do that?
Oh man,
where are the resources?
So here in Massachusetts, the great thing is the Cannabis Control Commission website is fantastic. Everything that we do here in Massachusetts has to be transparent with respect to what the law is, what the changes are. The commissioners actually meet in public and have all of their discussions in public. And so I would definitely urge nurses to go to the CCC website, especially since there are changes now even to the medical version of the law now that it's being wrapped under the Cannabis Control Commission. So it's a great way to stay updated. And I'm proud of what we've been able to do here in Massachusetts with like the Mass Patient Advocacy Alliance and what they've been doing to really push the needle forward for patients to make it more accessible, to make it easier for patients. And I'm hoping that we're going to continue to see that as the industry develops.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a wonderful thing. Tell us a little bit more about your company, Ardent. We, as nurses, we're teaching patients multiple different ways to medicate. Because cannabis, as we know, is personalized medicine.
100%.
No two people medicate the same way. There's a large portion of the population that doesn't want to smoke.
Yep.
It's also important that when they're making products that they have an idea about the amount that's in there, the consistency, the milligrams for dosing.
Yep.
So you created something.
Yeah, so
that's very exciting.
It is, and really Ardent is my baby. I was that patient, now almost 20 years ago. So my son turned 18, believe it or not, a couple months ago. And after he was born, I got an ovarian cyst, and I started turning to making cannabis medicine. And like most patients nowadays, the product was working well for me. Cannabis was amazing, but getting from plant material to actual product was a nightmare. And so I was able to, after years and years of my own experiences doing it all of the wrong way, and then having the ability to go and test my medicine at MCR Labs, and then I developed a product, a decarboxylation device that allows people to take their kief or their concentrate or their flower and turn that into an accurately dosed medicine. Whether that is a suppository or a topical or a sublingual. And really what Ardent is all about, it's about busting the myths around cannabis, using real science to create products that allow people to use it efficiently, allow people, even if they're experts or if they've just started using it, to get the same result, which is a good result.
Absolutely. And how powerful is it now that it is recreationally accessible, medically, recreationally, we're allowed to grow.
Yep.
Patients can get access to this machine and really educate and empower themselves. Teaching people how to grow, how to make their own medicine is so empowering and healing.
Yep. And there's so much opportunity, like you mentioned, with legalization, but at the same time, people still have such a lack of education about how to quickly and easily do these processes. When patients have our product and then they call up afterwards and they're like, this is just completely streamlined my entire process, and I love to hear from people because, we're selling to folks all over the globe at this point.
That's wonderful.
Who are now able to just have that power and control. And for me, it was all about giving that power back to the patient.
And that's exactly what we do as nurses. As nurses, when we're working with our patients, I will look at them and I will say, what is important to you and how do you want to live your life? And let's take that guided journey together.
Yeah.
Looking at mind, body, and spirit and how the plant can work with you. And there's so many different ways to use cannabis. And we need to be able to offer patients and educate them to choose the most appropriate method for them so they can get the symptomatic relief that they're looking for.
Yeah, and often what we saw is patients before coming and saying, well, I don't know if cannabis really worked for me. And then you go and you test the product that they have, and there's actually no THC or CBD in it. So it wasn't that cannabis wasn't working for you, it was you weren't even able to get to the point of being able to try these different therapies because you weren't able to make an effective product.
An effective product, dosing, right? And then the bioavailability. So if you think about, we were talking about as nurses having like a starter kit, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the vape or the edible
Yep.
or the tincture and the salve, basically to teach people, because it's all about self-titration.
Yep.
And because our bodies are constantly changing, our need for specific cannabinoids and specific cannabis strains and compounds and how we medicate could change daily.
Yep.
People will say to me, Sherry, how do you medicate? And I'll say, well, I'll show them. I got my rolling papers, I have my bubbler, I have my dabber, I have my creams, lotions, tinctures, coffee, granola bars, drinks. But do I do it all every day? No. It's about listening to your body.
Absolutely, and all of those things that you just mentioned, imagine how expensive it is for a patient when they're having to go and try all of those different things, and rather than having the ability to kind of create anything they want
with a machine. They take the flour, they take it, they put it in the machine.
And we're talking about a tiny bit of flour, and I think that's one of the things that is kind of the most mind-boggling to people. I say, think of the amount that you take to roll a joint. If I tell you that you could make,
more
10
medicine.
doses of medicine out of that, just the scraps that you have around, wouldn't you think that that was a viable option? And then we have in my opinion, and what we've seen is that when people have that ability to take just a little bit and make what they need, then they're able to take the rest and experiment and make things that work for them for different areas
of their body
or their family or their friends. And so, to me, that's one of the most amazing parts is how much cannabis, how versatile it is.
Yes.
How it can really help so many different people, but the barriers that exist when you talk about, like you mentioned, these different products or having access to them, if we have an ability to kind of make whatever we want and share that with our family and friends, how much faster will cannabis be accepted into the mainstream?
The new normal. Honestly, that's what it's all about. So I just wanted to ask, because it's really important for viewers to know, and it's one of my staple questions that I ask when I'm interviewing, how is cannabis helping you to live your best life?
So, like I mentioned, for 18 years I've been using it to manage pain and inflammation from an ovarian cyst. I've never had to have the surgery to take my cyst out. I manage it, and of course, there are some days where there's a little discomfort and pain, but it's manageable. It's not impacting my daily life. Stopping me from exercising, stopping me from doing other enjoyable activities like it was before. And then on top of that, I could never have made it through law school without cannabis. To bring that balance, to bring that centering, to kind of be able to deal with the ups and downs of being in this cannabis industry. I was saying on the tech panel that I was speaking on earlier, if you're not ready to kind of deal with some of the most difficult things you've ever dealt with in your life, coming and being an entrepreneur in this space,
gosh.
And you have to have the ability to kind of step away from it and say, listen,
step back.
Exactly.
Step back and think about what is your mission, your vision, your purpose, your goal. Like you really, I feel you.
Yeah, so I
right?
think, and
you have to step back and really think about, why are we doing this to begin with?
And to quell those fears and that anxiety that exists. I mean, I think that there's an anxiety that exists just as part of being a human, right? As part of the human condition. And cannabis can kind of lead us away from the harmful things that we do when we live in a sense of, fear and dread, and open up the possibilities to what life can bring when you, when you're putting yourself and your community in a better position to.
Well, cannabis is community.
It definitely is, and I think the show shows that.
It does show that. So if people wanted to find you and your company, right? You're here the rest of the weekend.
Yep.
How?
At least the rest of today.
The rest of today. Where can
and
they find
check
you?
They can check us out at the Hi Beautiful booth. They
Great.
can go and see Ardent products there. And then check us out online at ardentcannabis.com. And you'll see we have a bunch of new testing results coming out on
great.
CBD, on infusion, and really, providing a resource to people, whether it's patients, whether it's nurses, to be able to look at data and make some decisions, based on real science and facts.
Educating and empowering patients to make decisions that are best and appropriate for them. Ardent, we give you the Green Nurse 2 thumbs up.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And this is NECANN 2019, the 5th annual New England Cannabis Conference. And my name is Sherry Tuckus, the Green Nurse. Thank you for joining us.